Good afternoon, everyone. If you're just coming in, this is a full spectrum survival live show. We're going to be covering a lot of the things that you see happening out there in the world today. We're going to go over some of the things that you're not seeing out there in the world today. So let's see what we are looking at here. I do see that maybe we do have a little bit too much audio loudness coming in. Let's watch people start coming into the show here and see exactly what's going on. If you're just coming into this broadcast, please put down like what region you're from, what area of the USA you might be coming from, so that we can kind of get an idea of what kind of friends and family we have out there in the preparedness community. So what's happening today? We know that what's going on with Trump, what's going on all across our country is a huge shift. It's obvious, and I was talking with one of our group members today, it's obvious that what we're seeing right now is a little bit more than just the hearsay of what we've been told was going to happen over the last length of the campaign that happened. So Trump obviously won the presidency. We do have a whole shift in what's happening. I mean, let's face it. The guy went to sleep. We went to sleep one night, and everybody woke up the next morning, and he erased an entire group of people from their acknowledgement of what they considered themselves through gender identity and things like that. Just erased it. We saw entire departments in the government completely erased. There's a lot of anger happening right now, and we're starting to see the dangerous part, where we are seeing attacks. You're seeing attacks on law enforcement. You're seeing attacks on people who maybe show their position. So if you have like Trump stickers on your car, if you have Republican stickers on your house, you're a target. Same thing goes if you're a Democrat, honestly. Anybody is a target. So just watch out there. I make sure that everybody who looks at me has no idea what I am. No idea what ideologies I have. No idea whether I have something, a self-protection tool on or not. They don't have any idea, because I want everybody out there to be surprised. If they're surprised, I can control the environment. So just keep those things in mind. Even though we might be, think that we should be able to display certain things about us, I want to keep that idea of surprise in the minds of people who want to do harm to me and my family. Hey, Brian, I'm glad you made it here for your first ever live show. They're usually pretty nice. We have a great community here. People are real nice to each other. We look out for each other. We have ideas for, things that we might want to do in our own level of preparedness. So just sit back, relax. If you have any ideas, throw them out. Hey, Deborah, nice to see you. Yeah, going gray. Even that's just like subtly gray, right? Where we're saying, okay, well, I'm not going to show the rest of the world what I am. But let's get to some of the things that are happening out there today. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel, Full Spectrum Survival, if you haven't already. Please make sure that you like this video, and please send it to people if you think they could use it. Let's hear what Mel Gibson has to say.
I think they're a good bunch out here. I'm glad Trump's here at the moment. It's like Daddy arrived and he's taking his belt off, so.
Mel Gibson has been on top of the news cycle lately, hasn't he? He said it's like when Trump came into power, it's like Daddy arrived and he's taking his belt off. So I think that we have a little bit of wild times coming. Let's see what else. Now, this is the United States Marines. Now, you're going to see some of these news stories, some of these videos inverted. They'll be backwards because we don't want to catch any heat from any of the publishers. So please just put up with it if we have to. For some of the ones like this, glad to put them back to normal. 1,500 troops, including 500 Marines from Camp Pendleton. They were deployed. Hey, MD. Mo, sorry. So look at this. I mean, you can tell we're going to war, right? Anybody who doesn't think we are going to war doesn't look at what's actually happening. We are at war inside of our own country, at the borders of the United States of America, with entire groups of people who do all of the work that nobody else wants to do inside of this country. There are going to be repercussions financially in the economy. There are going to be repercussions socially for what's happening. The bad part is we don't know. It might take months. I mean, guys, it could take years for us to know whether what's happening right now is actually better for the economy in the long run, or if it's going to be worse for the economy, or if it's going to be better, for what's going on. Had to read backwards. Yeah, I know, guys. I'm going to read to you for the most part. Let's go ahead and skip, because this is really interesting to watch, to see that we are actually at war here. I mean, guys, they are locked and loaded. They are ready to go to war with whoever pops up, and trust me, they're taking fire. You're not seeing it on much of the news, but our soldiers are taking fire. The Border Patrol is taking fire. We actually have one of those videos, or a news story today, about our soldiers or our Border Patrol taking fire. So South Dakota, West Michigan checking in, Western Kentucky, Indiana, New York. We just have a great group of people here. I mean, we're Texas. We got people from all over. So let's see. Let's move on here. Who is this? John Voy, right? Let's listen to what he has to say.
We have won the victory, and Donald J. Trump is our 47th president. But my friends, I'm here to tell you about Elon Musk, a man of dignity, a man of truth, a man of honor, who has done a lot for this country and the people of this
Thanks,
USA.
Marcelo.
He's a kind soul, a gentle giant, and he loves America. And I want to tell you that the media is a disgrace. They're disgusting.
Hey, Roxanne.
They turn things around. They try to destroy and cause...
Okay, so here's Voy, right? And don't get me wrong. All of these celebrities, the politicians, they've all got their own form of an agenda. I don't even think agenda is really that bad of a word anymore, right? Because agenda just means you're driving a certain thought process that you want to see find fruit in your labor. So the left, the right, they all have their own agendas. What matters to me is we, the people. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a libertarian. I don't care if you're a conservative. I don't care if you're a Democrat. Guys, I don't care what you are. I don't care what religion you want. I don't care if you're the pegger or you're the peggee. I don't care what's going on in your life. But for us, boy, I don't want to pay the taxes we're paying. I don't want to have the freedoms that are eroding. I don't want to see this country go down the way that it has. So we need to step up here. We need to get some good ideas going. 2000 Lamar, thank you so much for the super chat there. Celebrate the third super on a live stream. So yeah, thank you so much for sending that in. Now, so I don't want to go into Voy too much here. I mean, he's just going to keep, helping Trump out, fluffing, if that's a term that we can use here. Is going to keep fluffing Trump up. But he definitely has some things to say. And obviously, this was reposted or originally posted by Elon Musk. So he's down there. About time they get the criminals out. Now, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Now, people who are, trying to support themselves, their family, find a better life, all for it. The criminals, we've got a story up here on one of these tabs about they walked in on a Tren de Aragua, basically a gang party, right? And just started hauling them out. That's what we need to see, the bad people. Let's see. Iran's supreme leader forced to wear flak jackets. So forced to wear what? Bulletproof vests. Fears of existential threats are growing. Thank you so much, Gloria. I appreciate the super chat there. Really appreciate everything and the support for our community here. So this says Iran is in a proxy war. We know that. I mean, come on, guys. Let's face it. We know that Iran hates us. A lot of people here hate Iran. Iran's 85-year-old supreme leader wearing a flak jacket at the funeral of two judges who were gunned down in Tehran last week. The robes bulging at unusual angles, probably not the angles that they'd like to see, if you know what I mean. Forces and allies in the region have been instructed to act with caution. They feel an existential threat exists with the return of U.S. President Donald Trump. So very interesting there. Let me flip this around here. This is the U.S. Department of Defense. The new secretary, a message to our forces. Let's read it together here. It is the privilege of a lifetime to lead the warriors of the Department of Defense under the leadership of our Commander-in-Chief Donald J. Trump. We will put America first, and we will never back down. Now, there's a little bit of what I've been telling you about, that there's a change in the display of strength of America. He says, the president gave us a clear mission: achieve peace through strength. We will do this in three ways: by restoring the warrior ethos, by rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. Now, I don't know if I could pull it up quick. Let's see if I can. Biden in the back row. Let's see if lame duck Biden. Here's the first things that come up. Lame duck Biden humiliated with a back corner spot. So they really pushed. And guys, I don't care if you like Biden or don't like Biden. It doesn't matter to me at all. Let me see if I can get an image here. So here's the USA. Should be front row and center, right? That's what every country wants to be. But for years now, the USA has been okay. Way back here, I don't think you can see my mouse on the screen, but way back here in the background, just okay with that. Now that's not okay for me, because the taxes that we pay, they go to the military industrial complex, we should at least be able to have other countries saying, hey, the USA gets front row seats. The USA gets certain allotments and allowances. But no, that's not how it was. What we have had happen is that we were giving all of our money away, but getting nothing in return. Not even respect. Not even a little bit of peace. We were getting all of our money taken away, and we were losing. So real interesting. This isn't just this APEC economic meeting in particular. This was meeting after meeting with world leaders. Thank you so much, Ingrid. Hey there, it's Ingrid and Charlie watching you from Canada. We've been watching you for the past 5 years. We're glad to have you watching here from your southern neighbors down here in the USA. We are all in this together. North America, South America. I make a joke and my kids laugh at me because I say, well, I grew up in Florida and that's South America, right? I mean, can't get any more south than the southern tip of Florida. And so we kind of make that little bit of joke there. Let's see. So Secretary Hegseth, let's see what else he has to say here. We will rebuild our military. We will reestablish deterrence by defending our homeland. Now that can go one of two ways, right? That could start to come after we the people, or it could be good for everything. And we start to get some crunch out of there. Bama J, thanks Brad and family. Christopher Cowan. Gulf of America, Florida. That's right. The furthest part of South America that we can get. All right, let's move on. I think I probably have to invert this for what's coming up soon. Okay, this is President Trump. They say slamming the mayor, Karen Bass, for saying rebuilding cannot start in California for 18 months.
That I know you had an opportunity to see the devastation. You've seen the extreme loss, the grief that people are going through here. And we are 100% committed to getting this neighborhood rebuilt again. You mentioned a couple of things in terms of us expediting. So I signed executive directives right away so that we could cut the red tape. We could get people back building as fast as possible.
I like how they think we're so dumb, right? That they use terms like cutting the red tape. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do all of these things. But they think that we are so dumb that we don't realize that the red tape, if you peel one layer away, you've got another layer right there. If you peel that away, it's like that Mythbusters video that they made a duct tape boat out of, or whatever they made, a duct tape raft. You just got layer after layer of garbage. Because for all of these people, and don't get me wrong, for Trump too, this is about a position. And it's a position where you either change things, you control things, you get power, you gain in the economy. Trust me, there are a lot of people surrounding this administration, just like the last one, who are going to come out economically better than they went into it.
Continue doing that.
Mayor, the one thing is they are saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope
that
you're
will
right.
not, you can hold me to it.
Because 4 groups said that.
No.
That would be, they should
No,
be able to do
So
it.
here's Trump calling Bass out, saying that 4 different groups buffering more than bare aspirin on my end. Tell me, is anybody else getting buffering here? Yeah, warning the stream bitrate. I think sometimes when I play video, it doesn't like it. Let me see if it comes back up. Tell me if you guys get back up to normal here. Now it says excellent condition. I run on Starlink. I'm out in the middle of the woods, so we just have to kind of take the cuts when we can take them. Okay, let me see. Let's move this back around to normal. Trump says he wants to clean out Gaza, send the refugees to Egypt and Jordan. Now, I have an audio clip up here of Trump saying that. today in artificial intelligence, they only need a couple of seconds. Thanks, I appreciate it, Susie Q. Everybody else saying they're getting some good feed. AI only needs a couple of seconds of your voice, my voice, anybody's voice, and they can recreate us to varying degrees. So it's just audio. I don't get to see Trump where I could pick out, does he have 8 fingers on one hand? You know, is it AI? But I do believe it to be Trump. And he's talking about Egypt. He's talking about Jordan, cleaning out Gaza, taking in 1.5 million people. Hey, kings, kitties. So we do have a couple of mods. We kind of just come on here when we can make it, when you guys can make it. So they probably can't change their schedule just for us, just for, friends in the community. What we are thankful for is that we have great people in this community, and the troublemaking stays down to a minimum. So Trump says you're talking about 1.5 million people. We just clean out that whole thing, speaking on Gaza. Over the centuries, it has had many conflicts, and something has to happen. So there are some behind-the-scene things going on between Trump, between Israel, between Elon Musk and Israel. So that is definitely worth our watch. And we're going to keep watching it just to kind of see what happens there. Thank you, UF Mark 2. Support your broadcaster. Hit that like button. Subscribe. We really appreciate it. Let's move back to an inverted video and see if we can't make them buffer for us. Okay, this is interesting. So this is on the California wildfires, right? And here's Trump right here. I played a little bit of this on our last live.
I don't know if we've ever seen anything like it, frankly. They say the biggest in the history of California. I think, has anything bigger than that happened in the whole country ever? It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit it. And we won't talk about what hit it, but it is a bad, bad situation. I don't know.
Now there's an acknowledgement out there of these.
They say the biggest in the history
of these direct E weapons, or these weapons types that can cause conditions like this. There's an acknowledgement out there that they exist. So here's Trump. Hey, Storm, appreciate it. There's Storm. Storm's a good friend of the community here, a mod here on the channel. So there's Trump out there, maybe giving some acknowledgement to these weapons, the weapon types at least, and whether they were used in California or not. Now, for me, guys, I don't really dive too deep down that rabbit hole. Maybe Trump is alluding to the fact that there were these types of things happening. I'm not sure. But what I know is that the devastation there, I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this.
To a low stump or even a hole in the ground. Not like this one. This was the big Coffee Park fire in Santa Rosa, where 4,700 homes were turned to white ash. And look at the trees. Why aren't they missing along with the houses? Many of these are pine family relatives. Eucalyptus against that road there, or whatever that is, against the road. Those are eucalyptus back there, the round ones. Those are so flammable, a cigarette lighter in your hand can light those on fire. A green leaf, light them right on fire. The forest is primarily valley oak, blue oak, and California bay, which is a very combustible leaf. I can light them on fire again with a cigarette lighter. And it might have even been kept up. I don't see one burned tree. There's ponderosa pine, black oak, white oak. Well, there's a deodar cedar.
So it's really interesting. I mean, guys, I've lived in the country. I've watched wildfires, and I've watched forest fires, and I've watched all these things, and you will get some of this. I mean, you'll get areas that are hit, that aren't hit. When you have houses built in a neighborhood like this, especially if they're like, popsicle stick houses where it's a lot of wood, that's where the fire is really going to hit at. Hey, Jordan, I appreciate you being here, man. Somebody was asking about where all our mods at, so I'm glad you can make it a little bit, and hopefully your baby there went to sleep or is on the way there. So if you have a popsicle stick house, it's going to consume the fire, right? Just like if I'm out at my campsite and a certain part of my fire is burning, I could have a cool part very close to it. So I know these types of things can exist. I can't even wrap my head around the type of direct energy tool they would need to target just houses. That just doesn't, I'm not there. So maybe we're there, I don't know, but I'm not there personally. Let's see. They say a forensic arborist determined that all the wildfires were caused by some sort of tech intervention. They say that over 38 years of experience as an arborist, 48 years studying the plant kingdom, discussing California's native flora, it goes on to talk about field work. Again, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Hey, Xavier. Thank you guys, everybody, for... Yeah, I know it's backwards. We're trying to avoid all the... the ways that the publishers out there, like if you get a big publisher, Fox News, CNN, whoever, they don't like you showing any sort of video. So we just have to deal with it a little bit. Here's a Chinese soldier, allegedly, okay? A Chinese soldier inside of Ukraine fighting for Russia, allegedly, urging Chinese troops. Let's listen.
15号下午3点多我们几个兵后面有2个小黑还有个百姓
Now, I don't know, guys. I'm not any sort of, expert on this. Is he a Chinese soldier? It sure looks like it. Is he, there are American boys and girls who today are on a flight to go fight for Ukraine. They're doing it at a personal level. So is he just a personal Chinese soldier out there and he's making videos and he's banking on that? I'm sure you remember when Ukraine first started, there were a couple of Rambo American heroes that went over there and they videotaped themselves. And then it came out that they were kind of lying, right? They weren't even in the fight. They were at the back line, not the front line, but pretending to be at the front line, banking in massive amounts of donations. So is this guy doing that? I don't know. Or is China actually taking part in the Ukrainian war with Russia in ways that we don't understand? So, yeah, or North Korean. So let's see. Let's keep watching what's happening there. We know China and Russia are backing each other up. Okay, so this is funny. I don't know how funny it is. It sucks if you got to change your life like this, but this is interesting. I've seen a couple of videos making their way through the internet today showing Walmarts, Home Depots, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, Target, food warehouses, empty. And they're saying that there were so many people criminally in this country, here illegally, that these companies were hiring them, and our entire economy was built on people who can't even be here, criminally here. Now, guys, I'm all for. If I want to go to Canada, I got to pay my dues, right? That's what it takes. If I want to go live in Canada, if I'm in Canada and I want to come live in America, I've got to pay my dues. I've got to come in here legally. I've got to position myself here in this country as a citizen. So I'm not talking about that at all. What I'm talking about is that there are videos circulating that say there were so many people missing now from Home Depot and Lowe's and food manufacturing and Walmarts that these places were literally empty. Maybe the videos were old. Maybe they were taken during COVID. I don't know. But I'm seeing a lot of it. And then there's videos like this saying that there are, at the borders or near borders, the massive amounts of people leaving the country. I don't know. If you guys have any data on it, I'd love to hear it. Okay, so here's the AI loop, right? We just saw DeepSeek wipe the slate. Biden just said that there was going to be an oligarchy, tech oligarchy, and he was kind of setting up Elon Musk, and he was setting up Donald Trump, and setting up all of the other big players, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, the Surfer Bro. He was setting them all up. Hey, Mount Ice, MT Ice, Montana Ice, okay. But what's actually happened is they did try to create a way for America to control AI. But China just blew us out of the water. And they're doing it in so many ways. So this is just a kind of like a normalized breakdown. Let me flip it back so you guys can read it here with me. Okay, so it says Sam Altman shows up, talks about AI, really building it up, says they need billions in funding, which we were glad to give him. Your tax-paying money. Here you go. AI and the new industrial revolution, and they're right, because it will allow companies to forego humans. So it is a revolution. NVIDIA becoming one of the most valuable companies on earth because of AI. Then we saw China, basically in 48 hours, wipe the slate. China built an AGI, DeepSeek, and they did it cents on the dollar, like penny stocks on the dollar. DeepSeek released papers and benchmarks proving that their model was better than OpenAI. And today you're just now starting to see the opening stock market effect ripple from things like NVIDIA. Well, let's see if we can, NVIDIA pre-market. Look, this is right now, guys. NVIDIA's pre-market down 4%, give or take. And it's going to keep doing that. Why? Because they know they're screwed now. China just came out and wiped the slate. Look at all these tech companies screwed. Advanced Micro, Amazon, all in the red right now. Why China's startup DeepSeek spells trouble for NVIDIA and AI stocks. Look at the news cycle and what they're talking about here. You just see all of these companies are screwed. Let's see. It's yelling at me about my bit rate, so let's pull that back a little bit. Yeah, so what are your guys' thoughts on that? How do you see AI changing the world? For me, I think it's going to change it heavily. Kel, will you mind turning your computer off and make sure the TV's off so we're not using extra Starlink? Yeah, you didn't catch it? Oh, okay. Storm says if we get to 800 likes, that's only 7 away on my screen. He's going to tell a joke. So I'm here for it. If you guys are here for it, hit that like button and let's see. I need AI to help me with a lawsuit. In many ways it can. I mean, I have friends who have used even current iterations of AI, and they're using it to help their lawyers. Because your lawyers, I mean, they're not there for you guys. The lawyers, come on, let's be serious. They're there to make money. And they collude with the judges and the other lawyers. And they're there only to make money. And so if you use AI and you start to shift what they have to say and say, okay, let's go in this direction. It's just like a doctor. You know, I've taken information. So I guess we got to 800. Storm says, what happens when a duck flies upside down? Kelly?
What happens
when a duck flies upside down?
I don't know. Something to do with quack?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Then, if you pause your stream on the phone, it might.
Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, it went back to normal.
Okay.
It's when I check out a new website or play a new video. Okay, so what do you call a cow with no legs? Susie? I don't know. Let's see. It quacks up. Okay, all right, so I got you there. Yeah, Kelly got the quack part. Okay, so let's move on. U.S. President Donald Trump pressuring Jordan. Okay, here's the audio I was telling you about earlier. Earlier in the broadcast, we talked about audio on Trump saying that they would be pressuring Jordan and Egypt to take 1.5 million people working together, that the USA would work together with Israel to clean out Gaza. Let's listen.
I'm talking to General El-Sisi tomorrow, sometime I believe. And I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. I mean, you're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing. It's it's over the centuries that's many conflicts that site, and I don't know. It's something has to happen, but.
So if it's true, that's verbatim to what the news organizations are saying that he said. Basically, clean out Gaza, work together with Israel, get these people out of this country, and that's a lot. You want to talk about making a terrorist? We are making them every day. But it's like gang fights. You have Bloods and the Crips. You have opposing gangs, whatever they might be. In South America, you got opposing gangs. They're going to fight until everybody's like, now we died enough. And I'm tired of watching people die. It's the same thing in the Middle East. Same thing with humans. Until people die enough, it's so sad. That's when war will stop. You follow Native Canadian Prepper. You should follow Patrick Humphrey. Let's see. FBI's most wanted child trafficker arrested in Florida. This guy looks like a real creepazoid. I'm not even going to say his name here during a routine traffic stop. On the run for 2 years. Guys, you got to watch your kids. You've got to not let these types of things happen. You've got to make sure you really know what's going on in their lives. China's UN representative, speaking on the USA. Let's listen.
We're not going
to hear too much unless you understand Mandarin or whatever he's saying. But he says China will decide what its policies toward the Korean Peninsula are. So basically, China will decide on its own. And it doesn't need the U.S. to tell it what to do. He says China would like to advise U.S. colleagues to correct their custom of blaming other people. Ingrid says, hey, Brad and Kelly, do you talk to Nate from Canadian Prepper sometimes? Yeah, we talk we got a couple of email chains. We like to keep each other, kind of up to date with certain things that are happening out there. And then we just kind of have some banter back and forth. So China is they're not screwing around. If DeepSeek is out there actually wiping out our versions of AI, we're in real big trouble. Secretary of Defense says that America stands shoulder to shoulder with Israel and will unwaveringly support Israel's security. Netanyahu, of course, patted Hegseth on the back during a call. It's more of the same, isn't it? And I think it's going to keep being more of the same. Now look at this. This is reportedly in California. Now these people either have a lot of time on their hands and they're trying to make a funny in satellites, or there's some real bad things going on here. Let's see. Try the coordinates for yourself. They say it just keeps getting worse. Right next to a rail yard, Traffico, LAPD, and Federal are other words made with objects. Here's a side view of the site. It seems to be a closed construction site, maybe storage for the Pacific Union. There appears to be a homeless encampment. There's a lot of bad things that happen around these supposed encampments. Let's see what this says. Can anyone make this out? Somebody said, of course. Oh, yeah. So we have it backwards on purpose. I try to flip it around for the text so you guys can read the text, but we invert the video just because for publishers and stuff. Here's the borders are. I'm old enough to remember when we hated the idea of calling someone a czar, and now it's just out in the open. Let's see what he's talking about. That's really what's going on. I hope that there's some empathy somewhere between public safety threats and criminal activity and people who are just, trying to find something better. There should be some empathy there, because we can't just have this like, oh no, you just let anyone. No, because then you just let guys, we found Syrians, we found Russians, we found the Chinese military, we found them all coming through our border. That's not okay. First reference I've had to DeepSeek was Brad. I'll follow this up later. Yeah, okay, so I'm definitely look into it. It is what we're going to be seeing for the next 6 to 7 days, at least, on AI. And then we're going to... Guys, I remember my old NEC computer. Do you remember your NEC computer? Let me see here. This thing was about the size of a filing cabinet. Maybe 97. Okay. This looks like about the color of mine, because for some reason, you just couldn't find them in white anymore. I don't know what we were using. Is it the asbestos, or were we using some sort of poisonous hardener? I don't know. But this was about the color of my NEC computer, and I'm old enough to remember that they would bring out a computer, and then bring out another one next year. And then they'd be like, oh, look, you get, a certain amount of megabytes of space now. Oh, aren't you happy about that? Here, pay another $1,000. Pay another $2,000. It was all a ploy. I'm hoping that the ploy is the same in our current versions of artificial intelligence, and that even though China is wiping the slate with us right now, we have something to come back. We already have that next AI coming out. We'll just have to see. Empathy for who? Anytime, let's just say, okay, I've got a good example for you here because I'm just as stuck on this as you. Let's say you've got a dad, right? Let's say you've got a mom, you got a grandma, whoever. And grandma's like, come on, kids, we're going to America. And grandma can't afford to pay the whatever fees to get in here the right way. Grandma's making the bad decisions, but the kids are paying for it too. And so I hope there's some empathy to get people on the right track, because I think that there's a place everywhere for everybody, right? Now, you won't find me and my family burkening up and going over to Iran, but that doesn't mean that, people shouldn't be able to. So let's just see. I mean, I hope that there's empathy. Empathy should exist in almost all areas. Send all the illegal unfortunates to Brad's house. I mean, hey guys, I'm looking at my self-protection tools, so I just hope that everybody has their own. I hope that everyone has their own ability to protect themselves. I remember floppy disk, guys. I played Wheel of Fortune on a floppy disk. Greetings from Where Is Your Heart? Open Your Doors. Okay, thank you. People really need to understand medical preparedness is as essential as food and water. Yeah, so you've got 3, right? 3 seconds to react to impending chaos, right? And so that's a little bit of what this is for. 3 seconds to react to impending chaos. Because let's say the door busts open right now. I've got about 3 seconds is really being lenient, right? I have to act quick because I have to start now to control that environment. But let's say you got 3 seconds, okay? 3 moments in time, whatever you want to call it. And then you've got 3 minutes in inclement weather that could kill you otherwise. So you're cold and it's below freezing. Or Surfer Bro Zuckerberg. Yeah, I don't like him either, but you got to admit that this dude went from his AI version into his Surfer Bro version. And then he was like, hey, I'll just go on Joe Rogan and I'll just say whatever Elon Musk has been saying because that'll get me out of hot water. So you've got 3 minutes in inclement weather to survive before it starts to negatively affect you. And then you've got, 3 hours in inclement weather to survive before it starts to negatively affect you. And even that, I mean, that's a given. You got 3 minutes that the old noggin up here will survive on average without oxygen. So that's where medical comes in, right? So here's your first one. You got 3 seconds to react. And then your medical needs to come in. And I don't know if you can see it behind me, but that's one of our extensive first aid bags right there. And so there's another one in the vehicle. Cal, will you grab it for me and yeah, you're fine. Let's see what's in it. Okay. So you got 3 minutes without oxygen. And if you don't get that oxygen going again, well, you're going to be in big, big trouble. You guys have seen me do a video on this before. Somebody's having some sort of like anaphylaxis problem. I've got some epinephrine up there. Also, epinephrine mask here. I should have another one in here, Cal, but you can grab that one for me. Got some trauma bandages. Everyone's saying hi, Cal.
Hello.
What's this? Well, if I'm choking and no one's here to give me the old Hymie, time to Hymie yourself and get that grape out of your throat or whatever it is you're eating on. A little oxygen canister. So you're right. You got to have seconds. You got to have first aid. If you don't have first aid, well, you're in big trouble. What's next? So 3 hours, 3 days without food. Well, you need a lot more than 3 days because if you need to feed your kids and you only got 3 days worth of food, you're screwed. 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food. Could you imagine being on week 2 and not knowing where you were going to give your kids food from? You want to talk about chaos in our streets? People would lose their right away. Week 2. Week 1, they're losing it. Day 3, they lose it. So food is definitely an important part too. Water is pretty easy for me. It's hard to carry. Think about the military, right? That's going to be your hardest. Carrying your ammo, carrying your water. But I can get a water filter, and I know where the lakes are, and I have some streams and rivers nearby, and you can get a water distiller and distill that pool that no one has, swam in for the last 2 years. there are things you can do. You can legally buy pure O2 at Home Depot with a mask. Yeah, and that's some of it in there. You're just not going to get very much. You really need to get like a oxygen generator and, generate your own oxygen. It uses zeolite. I think I'm saying that right. Zeolite. And it's a chemical reaction with water that produces oxygen. Okay, so let's see. Where else are we at? Let's keep going. This is protesters blocking traffic in Dallas. This could end badly, folks. I'm sure you remember how quickly these types of things can spiral out of control. Let's see what else we got here. Colombian president sending the presidential plane. This is a report. I'm not sure if it's true. To pick up the Colombians that they first denied. Now Trump was like, hey, we're going to do some nasty back to you if you don't take your people home. And I guess Colombia was like, oh, well, we don't really want to play that game. Let's see. Why don't they go to Mexico and protest? Catching up what's happening. There's a lot happening. Definitely you need to watch the ICE and immigration stuff over the next couple of days. The protests popping up. You definitely need to watch AI and what's happening with that space. I expect some sabotage here in America, so watch out for that too. Okay, so here's what I said earlier. This is the Bimbo Bakery Factory. I've never even heard of this. Let's see if it's even real first. Okay, I guess Bimbo Bakeries is a real thing. I don't know who was like, hey, let's call it Bimbo, but they decided to go with it. It says it's an American corporate arm of the Mexican multinational bakery product manufacturing group called Bimbo. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so they say this is Bimbo Bakery, Central Illinois. The parking lot usually full. The factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what is it now?
Fear-mongering about food and our communities running out of food and there being a big balloon and there being economic problems. This is in Central Illinois. This factory, which is next door to my home, is the Bimbo Bakery factory. And next door to it is 2 more factories. And then across the street is another factory. This parking lot should be full. This factory runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is 5:30.
And that exhaust there is just ventilation.
That's just the ventilation. This would typically
there should
be full.
There should be a huge smoke column somewhere right around here going that way with the production oven.
And if you look at that parking lot, it is empty. This is shift change. It is the middle of shift change. And the entrance to the parking lot is right there. And this is our only street in and out of town to get over there. And as you can see, there are no cars. So this is our bakery, Bimbo Bakery. They make things like...
Okay, so a little bit of reiteration there. What's actually happening? There's a lot of people freaking out. Guys, you want to talk bad? My brother got a quote. He was like, well, we could do it ourselves, but we're working jobs. We're trying to do these things. So he's trying to build himself a new house, right? And he's like, well, let me go to this company and see what they say. Their price, lose your freaking mind for what they're doing. And they're employing usually illegal labor. So imagine the price of everything that we're about to see. Now, is it for the better of America? Yes. Okay, great. But what are we about to witness? Inflation's not going to go down. Actually, I have a video about that. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Where this is Vance. This is our vice president. I want you to listen, okay? Listen to this in particular.
You campaigned on lowering prices for consumers. We've seen all of these executive orders. Which one lowers prices?
We have done a lot, and there have been a number of executive orders that have caused already jobs to start coming back into our country, which is a core part of lowering prices.
Now, we are going to see that, don't get me wrong, because manufacturing companies are like, well, we better get back over to America so that it can stamp Made in America on it, and they can, employ actual American citizens.
More capital investment, more job creation in our economy is one of the things that's going to drive down prices for all consumers, but also raise wages so that people can afford to buy the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are
okay. So listen to this
to
right
buy
here.
the things that they need. If you look at our slate of executive orders, no, Margaret, prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
Okay, so here's the scary part. We just had JP Morgan, the CEO, Jamie Dimon, he was on news. And what did he say? Well, if inflation continues to go up, but it's better for national security, so be it from the bank's point of view. They're almost there. I don't know if you've ever seen, Kel, can I have one, like the smoky quartz there? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a stone, right? Smoky quartz, okay? No matter how much I squeeze this, not getting any blood out. But that's what the bank wants to do to you. They want to squeeze every last bit that they can out of you. They want to squeeze your work. The government wants to squeeze your tax. They want to squeeze every way they can. But they're going to reach a point where you just can't do it anymore. Jordan says prices have gone up again locally. We're getting groceries for the week at around $60. It's back up to $100. Yeah, I don't see our prices going down in 2 years. I really don't. I see them going up. And the scary part is, as humans, we're so ignorant and short-sighted and have such a short-term memory that when the prices go up another 10% and then they come down 8%, people will be like, oh, God, thank you for bringing the prices down. Not realizing that they went up 10% first, went down 8%, and so they're still 2% higher. And usually it's way more than that. I'm just using that as an example that we can all understand. Yeah, pitchforks and torches. That's a scary thing because we already see them talk about vigilantism. So next, when people can't afford to eat, now you can push people a lot further. Look at the poor countries and people who aren't eating. Even though we had millions and millions of people in America with food insecurity in the last 2 years, hey, JW, we have a long way to go. You're not seeing the bones of most Americans because they found out a way to get us to eat straight glucose syrup. They found a way to feed us high fructose corn syrup and lots of other garbage that fattens our liver up and makes it so all our kids are fat. So until you visually start to see that people are suffering, everyone just thinks it's just them suffering. And we don't realize that they're poisoning all the rats. They're poisoning everybody. It does have to crash eventually. I mean, but if there's anything, it's that these suckers are so good at building an entire structure on a toothpick that they'll do anything. They'll get us to hold the toothpick up. Pray for your family, Amber. You're struggling. Yeah, I mean, I was talking and Kelly was talking with a friend of ours today. We don't know anybody who isn't feeling it. Now, sure, some people are struggling more than others, of course. But we don't know anybody who's living their best life right now as far as their own personal economy goes. And when some people are better off, well, then their health's in the garbage can because they're poisoning everything. So what do? That's where we get to that point where you're almost at that end. You're almost at the cliff. They know it. We know they know it. There's a lot of people already saying civil war is here already. And if you look at that first video, the first part of this video, if you go back and jump to it because you came in late, we look like we're at war. If you saw those, our planes and our troops arriving at the border, it looks like we're at war. All right, let's see what else we got before we wrap up today. Oh, let's finish Vance here.
The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think that in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. It's been an incredible breakneck pace of activity. We're going to work with Congress. We're, of course, going to have more executive orders. And we're going to try, the way that you lower prices is that you encourage more capital investment into our country. And yes,
you campaigned on lowering prices.
You know, that's that empathy that I was talking about. Somebody said, my says, look after the homeless. You never know when you will need them. My thing is, you never know when you're going to be them. When Kelly and I were down in Louisiana, there were so many people who were just like on the street struggling, and so many freshies on the street. This was like their first week, their first 2 weeks. And what they were going through, and from where they came a month ago, 6 months ago, you would have never thought they'd be in that position. So yeah, you do need to take care of people. Just with empathy, guys. Have love. That's all I'm saying. Just have love. Let's see what else we've got here. Illegals with foreign flags. I don't know if they're illegal or not. Obviously, that's a little bit sided. I mean, these people might all be here legally. It says marching in front of Trump Tower in Chicago, demanding zero deportations and the scary word there, revolution. That word right there. That's the one that should have us all saying, this might not be so peaceful after all. How are you going to be in America waving the Mexican flag? I don't know. I think if I went over to Syria and started waving the American flag, I'd be asking for trouble. That just, in my mind, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that today. DEA in Colorado. Okay, here's what I talked about earlier. DEA in Colorado. 50 people at a gang party gone wrong. They say it was an invite-only Tren de Aragua, which is a gang, a Venezuelan gang, in Adams County, 15 minutes drive north of Denver. It was a rave thrown at a vacant property, hyped up on social media. They seized drugs, pink cocaine. I don't know if you know what pink cocaine is called. What? What's the pink cocaine called? I forget. Somebody knows down in the comments what the pink cocaine is called. Because if you hear your kids say it, they're messing with stuff that they should not be messing with. So if you know what the pink cocaine, Tusi. That's right, Tusi. Why do I want to call it Kusi? So Tusi, yeah, Diddy powder. So if you hear your kids say Tusi, and it's spelled two and C, or TU and big C, there's also different ways they spell it. Huh? TUSI is another way. You definitely do not. You want to get on top of that real quick. They say the guests, many of them turn out not to be here legally. One-way ticket to ICE custody. Let's see. Is this dude in the left? Oh, yeah, they're cuffed up. Hands and feet. I guess they figured homeboy here with his purse was a runner because they cuffed his hands and his twiggy ankles. So watch out, folks. Let's see. This is that factory. Here's the Department of Government Efficiency, an official website, they say, of the U.S. government. This is Elon Musk, Donald Trump, their new efficiency department. Said they're looking for world-class talent to identify and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse. I don't know, guys. We're all humans. I think no matter who you put in there, we're going to see some waste, fraud, and abuse. But I hope it's better than what it is. This is Borders are California. Okay. So I do see some reports that the California stuff, people are going to get very toxic rain very soon. Let's see. We've been in this for how long? Let me see here. I don't want to keep you guys all night, but I do thank you for being here with us. 53 minutes. So we will cut it pretty soon. I want to thank you guys. I'd gladly pay you Tuesday. That's right. For, what is it, a burger you sell me today? Why is it pink? Steve says it's artificially colored, I think. But the idea was that they would make it identifiable. And they add in some other, I think the first stuff on a Vice report or something I saw, they might have added like Pepto-Bismol or something else that was distinctly pink. And it made it, it's kind of like signature color there. Let's see. Go ahead and run in some questions here. Maybe anything that we have to wrap up tonight with. Steve will survive. Says Tusi is a recreational drug containing a mixture of different psychoactive substances. Yeah, so usually it's like, what's the one people? MDMA, which I guess is ecstasy, right? And then Coke, and probably a little Fetty in there because they're just adding Fetty to everything out there. Bro got a purse. Yeah, he is slanging that. Jeff says he's slanging that Tusi and that Boosie. So appreciate that, Jeff. I know a guy when I see one. He says, so I've heard. Cayenne Pepper from Breaking Bad. I appreciate the reports and the candor. You know, I like that we can come on here and just kind of talk it up and see what's going on out there. And it doesn't have to be all serious, even though our talking points are very serious. Shaw says, thank you, Brad and Kelly. Appreciate it. You can't make this stuff up. Nice thought and blessing from Mary Jane. What is your opinion on potassium iodide tablets? Yeah, I think they're a part of the kit. I mean, iodine, iodide, I think they're a part of the kit. Are they first use? That's individual. You got to do some research, but they're a part of the kit. Try to get to 1,200 likes. I think we're past it on mine. My side says 1337. Something wicked this way comes. Absolutely. Jordan says, I see one. I don't know what you're talking about, Jordan. Hopefully it's not a Boosie. Did you hear about these young people talking about doing on January 29th? Let's see. You fill me in there. Let's see what else. I have heard a little bit. Maybe it's like a shutdown and some protests and stuff. Let's see. The Rally for Life. Of course, they're going to put the real nice stuff up front, right? But yeah, it looks like we're going to see probably some protests, maybe even some unrest out there. For me, our friend Katera, you guys have seen her on the channel before. We just have people pulling in from all over the country, and everybody here is working towards something. We have a lot of friends who are trying to do like homesteading this year. A lot of friends who are getting out there, learning and investing their time to get skills. So a big thank you to everybody out there. Who is this? Sick and Tired, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And hopefully we won't be so sick and tired here in the future. Storm says, what fire response plans do you have for your group? Do you actively practice them? Yeah, so we have well away from our well as part of our fire response. Then, when you're out in the country, bucket brigades is really what you've got. And so you've just got to pre-position your buckets, make sure everyone's prepared, and do what you can, and hope that you have other means available. Of course, I'm not in a position to have a water truck. Wish I did, but maybe some of our prepper members are in that position. My husband, Charles, and I love, hey, Ingrid, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Much love to you and your family also. Thank you for all you do, Killer Smurf. Could you, a Killer Smurf, that's the movie I would watch. Now, the Smurfs, okay. Killer Smurfs, now you've got to watch out. California checking in. Hey, Thrival Survival. I like that name. Thrival Survival. Protect yourselves. Put on God's armor. Thank you guys so much. So we've just got a lot going on. No 1800s living. Maybe. Drones. Yeah, drones are a part of my kit. Are they a part of your guys' kit? I mean, you need them for recon. You need them for data gathering. You need them for a heads up. I don't have a Canadian prepper, Nate over there. He had a thermal drone, which to me is like, man, that's awesome. I don't have a thermal drone, but I wish I did. Easily, if we can get prepper-minded, easily deployable thermal drones, watch out. Mr. Roman says, DEA laboratory testing identified pink powders containing ketamine, MDMA, methamphetamine, fentanyl, and xylazine. I don't even know what that is. But you don't want it. That's what I do know. You do not want that in you or your kids. What color does a Smurf turn if it's deprived of oxygen? I guess gray. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when Killer Smurfs, the movie, comes out. Is it any warmer up there? Thankfully, we're only about 10 degrees difference, usually from mid-Florida to upper Florida. So it's about that. We're experiencing some nice fluctuation right now. Do you have hazmat suits? Yeah, we have both standard and non-traditional. We've done, I think, a Patreon card on the non-traditional ones before. No one's buying food. Walmart and Safeways are slow. All the stores are empty. Good food is rotting. One thing I know is that the food out there is going bad real quick. And I can't stand it. I mean, if you're not cooking what you buy that day, then maybe that's what they want, right? Maybe we're onto something here. Maybe they want you to have to go back to the store on day 2 or day 4. Why? Because you're likely to buy something else. And so if they make it so that your produce starts to rot, you got to go back and buy more. Thank you guys. Love you much. We'll talk to you soon.